grade 11, and all the predecessors, transmitters, temple masters, and lecturers for giving me this opportunity to give this discourse or talk on the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay, so this is really Buddha's teaching. All right. As a matter of fact, if you could, can you zoom in on that? Yeah. Oh yeah. You can make it. Can't you just make it fill the screen? Right. You can do that. Right. Okay. Let's talk about the background. It's called. Okay. Well, the topic is called Noble Eightfold Path, and that's the fundamental teaching that you'll most people will probably hear first when they hear about Buddhism. All right. So let's give it a little background. This is the first teaching by Sakyamuni Buddha right after his enlightenment. Okay, and the teaching is called Dharmakakra Pravartana, which means, well, among other translations, setting in motion the wheel of the Dharma. All right, and it was addressed to his 5 former ascetic co-cultivators or friends, partners, at the deer park in Sarnath, India. That's another story to the deer park thing. But that's besides the point. Okay, right? We don't have time. But it's pretty good, and you guys can look it up on the internet, and it's a very good story. So anyway, but it's the first teaching. Okay, his first ever discourse, or you can say teaching, given right after enlightenment. Okay. And the Noble Eightfold Path happens to be the 4th of the 4 Noble Truths. Okay, four Noble Truths. And the 4 Noble Truths happens to be the main topic of that Dhammakakra Pravartana Sutra. Okay, all right. So, okay, and it's also, this Noble Eightfold Path is also called the middle way, the middle path, because Buddha mentioned it, okay, when he was about to give that discourse to his 5 fellow ascetic. Well, they were friends, and then they split and they, right, okay? So it's also known as the middle path, middle way, okay? So sometimes you could refer to that too, all right? Now, according to some other discourses in some of the other Buddhist tradition, Buddhist sutra tradition, this Noble Eightfold Path was supposedly rediscovered by Sakyamuni Buddha during his quest for enlightenment, and because he described that there was an ancient path which has been followed by and practiced by all the previous Buddhas. You know that? Okay, it's called the Nagara Sutra, which is part of another sutra. But anyway, it's not important. But all right, so this Eightfold Path was not something that he invented. Okay, in other words, that's what I'm trying to say. So and hopefully after this 1 hour is up, you'll have a little better appreciation of why that may be the case. Okay, so anyway, all right. Then the sutra also introduced, amongst other, besides the noble truth, the 4 noble truths, and the Noble Eightfold Path, the concept of the middle way, impermanence, and dependent origination or causality. All right, so it's pretty long. Okay, now what's important about this Noble Eightfold Path is that it's also part of what we call the 37 branches or limbs or aids for enlightenment qualities. Okay, because throughout all his 49 roughly years of teaching, okay, Buddha did mention that of all his teachings, all the core concepts, ideas, doctrines, etc., they all can be, you can say, more or less summarized as part of those 37 branches or aids to enlightenment. You understand? And the Eightfold Path is one of them. Okay? So that's that makes it pretty important. Okay? So, all right. Also, the Eightfold Paths are divided. There are 8 of them, right? There are 8 of them, but they're divided into like 3 parts. There's the first 2 is called the wisdom part. The next 3 are called sila means literally means precepts, but but we call it ethical conduct. I mean, same thing. I mean, right? You follow the precepts. That's an ethical conduct. Okay, so, and then the last three are called the samadhi, or we call it concentration or mental discipline. All right. I mean, really, samadhi has many meanings, but samadhi in general, in Chinese, is called ding. Right? Ding. When ding, right? It really, samadhi has many levels, by the way, okay? There's the diamond samadhi, which I'll refer to later, diamond samadhi. That's like the highest level, but never mind. Okay, but anyway, just FYI. Okay, now, get some terms. The term Arya means noble, precious, pure, not ordinary environment, okay? It's Arya Saka, that's the four noble truths, okay? Saka means, usually translated as truth, but it also means something that is in accord with reality, okay? Or reality, sorry. Dukkha, that's a common term that's repeated in the four noble truths, okay? It's commonly translated as suffering, but we have to understand and in Chinese, that's why it came from the Chinese. The Chinese literally means suffering, or you can say suffering or burden, or whatever, okay. So literally it means that, all right? But in Sanskrit, dukkha has a much broader meaning that there's no English equivalent, okay? So it could also mean anxiety, uneasiness, dissatisfaction, and satisfaction. And there are three aspects to it, right? The actual feeling of physical or mental anguish, right? That's the actual, you can say, pain, the suffering. But then there's also the basic dissatisfaction pervading all forms of existence. That's part of dukkha too, okay? And also impermanence of any feelings. So let's say, you like something, you love each other so much, you wish it could last longer. Well, guess what? It ain't gonna last, all right? So, this music is so good. Well, eventually it's gonna end, right? It's not gonna be forever. Same thing, right? Oh, summer is so nice. Eventually it's gonna end. Oh, spring is so nice. It's gonna end. Oh, winter is so nice. Or maybe not nice. It's gonna end. The point is, any feelings, any perceptions, is not permanent. And that's common. As a matter of fact, dukkha is one of the three, what we call dharma seals. That's also taught by the Buddha in his second discourse, 5 days later after this discourse. But that's, we don't have to talk about that. But I'll refer to that. It's very important because it's a central, you can say it's a central theme, okay, to the Four Noble Truths and also to the Eightfold Path, okay? All right. Okay. Then you have samyak, which means proper, correct, right. It also really means, it could mean perfect or ideal, okay? So it doesn't matter. Okay, wholesome or wise. Prajna, we all know, means wisdom, but it means also discernment at a different level because prajna also has, similar to dukkha, has different levels, okay, or different degrees, just like samadhi, same thing. And sila, we know, is precept, okay? So now let's go to the Eightfold Paths. Oh, no, there's more. Samadhi and samsara, but you know what that means, right? Samadhi is it means concentration, but there are many levels, okay? And then samsara, we should know, is commonly called reincarnation. It just means the cycle of being and cessation, or birth and death and rebirth and death, okay? So that's what it means, samsara, right? So the whole goal of the Noble Eightfold Path is to transcend samsara, all right? Okay, makes sense? All right? So now let's go to the body of the Noble Eightfold Path, because I have a lot of material, so I want to go through. So right now, all right, the Noble Eightfold Path. The first, what happened to the number 1, 2, 3? Oh, you don't have 1, 2, 3, 4? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 on mine.
We don't have to take notes because what we can do, if you want, we can ask Kai to make us a copy, if you want. But when we take this copy home, we cannot read it in the bathroom or the bedroom.
Because I have to be fair.
Okay, and we cannot throw it in the garbage.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the first one. Now, I because I got lazy and I didn't want to put it in the background. I want to save. I don't want to. They're just too much. But anyway, in general, here's one approach. Okay. The Noble Eightfold Path, unlike the Four Noble Truths, there are 8 of them, right? Eight paths. Now, generally, initially, we say, okay, there's the first step, second step, all the way to the 8th step. That is true only in so much that if you are a beginner let's say if you're new to let's say this is your first experience at what we call learning or cultivation, then yeah, you will follow from 1 to 8. That's no problem. But in actual reality, in most cases, it's practiced among especially by the monks, or the nuns, simultaneously. You understand? All 8 is simultaneous. It's similar to the 6 paramitas. The 6 paramitas are not 6. First one is charity, then the second one is precepts. No. It's not that. You're supposed to practice all 6 simultaneously. So really, the same thing with the Noble Eightfold Path. But that's only if you already have some background, okay? Already have some exposure. But if you're new, you could say, yeah, the first step, second step, okay? All right. So knowing that, knowing that, it's very important. That's why the very first one is called the proper view or understanding. All right? It's very important. All right? It's not number 8. Okay? Even though number 8 plays a critical role too, but that there's a reason. There's a rhyme and reason. Okay? Why Buddha, when he rediscovered this Eightfold Path, used by all the previous Buddhas, that of all the previous kalpas, countless kalpas. So it's kind of amazing. So it's like, it's like, I don't want to say, it's like a general tool, for beginners, you can say, for beginners who are, on the path, seeking enlightenment. Okay, so the first one is called proper view or understanding. I'm going to say very general. It's just to understand oneself as what one really is. It's to have penetrative insight into reality and the moral law of karma, and to realize the Four Noble Truths. So in it already said, there's something broad, very broad, and also something very specific. That is the Four Noble Truths, okay? That you have to understand or, realize or be awakened to it. So the first one, the first proper view understand, you can generalize it by saying very broadly, very general, in a very general sense, is say to be awakened. That's the very first step of awakening. You can say that, okay? You can say that. You don't have to be, you can say aware, yeah, slightly aware, but you're not yet enlightened, obviously, okay? Okay? You just awaken. You just something, maybe a spark went off, or it's like in the middle of the night, you see a flash of lightning. You get it? Okay, then that's like the first instance. Okay, so that's like at the very first stages, that's what proper view would be. In the later stages, more advanced level, it's totally different meaning. Okay, so that's the marvelous thing about the Noble Eightfold Path. That's why it's noble. It's called noble, but I'm jumping the gun. That's in my conclusion. But anyway, so now that's the broadest view. The narrow view is to realize and understand what the Four Noble Truths are. Okay? So there they are, the Four Noble Truths. And it's kind of funny, because the Four Noble Truths, in the Fourth Noble Truth, talk about the Eightfold Path. So it's kind of like they kind of like mutually support each other. It's like mutual, I don't say it's like a vicious cycle, but it's normal. It's a virtuous cycle, really. It's a virtuous cycle. But that's in my conclusion too, but that's okay. So anyway, but the Four Noble Truths, the Arya Saka, okay? The first one is called the truth of suffering, or dukkha, that life is a sea of suffering, okay? That's... Now, here's the thing about the truths. They are not truths as defined, say, or as viewed from the standpoint of a scientific truth or a mathematical truth. You understand what I'm trying to say? Okay? It's not like something, I have to go prove that. Buddha, you said that life is suffering. Well, I need proof. You have to prove it to me. How do you measure suffering? How do you do that? So Buddha, when he proposed, we call these Four Noble Truths. Remember, I defined what Saka meant, right? Saka had many definitions, right? Generally it's called truth. Yeah, it's defined as truth, but it also means what is reality experienced by someone. Now, let me ask you, whether or not you believe life is suffering or not, I bet you everybody, every single being, 7.5 billion people in this whole world, all of them, at some point or another, suffer something. Either illness, either something. Okay? Right? But the Buddha went further. it's really, you guys call, in the Dharma class, you guys attend Dharma class, what was that topic called the true meaning of life? I think Kenny usually talks about that course or Transmitter Lin. The 8 sufferings, and you guys remember what the 8 sufferings are?
Old age.
Well, no, it's 2 parts. It's 4 and 4. Also happen to be 8 noble paths. Very interesting. But anyway, the first suffering is birth. It's called birth. Birth is suffering, by the way. People say, oh no, birth is not suffering. Well, it's suffering. 2 is what?
Aging.
Aging. Getting old. Wrinkles. Uh-oh. Arthritis coming. Uh-oh. Okay, that's suffering, right? Okay. Third one is what? Sickness. Yeah. Uh-oh, I got a cold. Uh-oh. Stinks, man. I can't get a cold. Okay, fine. Anyway. Then the last one is death. So that's suffering too. All right? Okay? So, and then the next 4 is what? Being away from your loved ones. Or ones that you have emotional attachment. Okay? Being with people that you don't like. Okay? And what's the third one? Oh yeah. Not getting what you want, what you desire, what you wish. Okay? And the 4th one is what? With regard to the aggregates, to the skandhas, to the five skandhas. We're not going to that. Okay? But that's suffering. Okay? So those are all suffering. So then that's why, because of that, from Buddha's perspective, that's why life is called suffering. You see what I'm trying to say? You understand that? See it from the skandhas and the 8 sufferings. Okay? All right? So we now see these truths. Let me back up a little bit. Some scholars debate whether or not the actual originally when Buddha gave his teaching discourse to the 5 ascetic friends of his, he never used the term noble at first. Now, some scholars criticize Buddhism and say, oh man, very first statement, it's negative. It's talking about life stinks, man. Life is suffering, man. That's negative, right? That's very pessimistic. So as a matter of fact, Nietzsche criticized Buddhism as being pessimistic. You know that? Okay, by the way. But that proved that he did not really understand. But anyway, okay. Now, the term noble, so when we say 4 noble truths, another way, a better way of saying it is called the 4 truths as seen by a noble person. So it's not that suffering is noble. No, because when people say, oh yeah, truth of suffering, truth of all that, the origin of suffering, etc. Stinks, man. Sucks. So you mean to tell me that suffering is noble? No, it doesn't mean that. Okay, understand that? So we have to understand that. Okay, it's really the better way, the correct way to interpret it is the 4 truths as seen by a noble person, by a person. And what is a noble person? A person who realizes samsara, that there is samsara, that there is a way out. You understand? Okay, that's what. Okay, all right. So now the second one, the truth of the origin. So suffering, there is suffering. So the first statement is what, describing what is life or what is this world about. Okay, what? That's what. Now the second one is the truth on the origin of suffering, which is the why. Why do we suffer? Because of ignorance, leading to desires, attachments, cravings that tie us to suffering and samsara. Okay? So that's the why part. Why life is suffering. Alright? Because of mainly ignorance, but then ignorance drives desires, cravings, attachments, and all that. Okay? So that's the why part. The third statement, truth of the cessation of suffering, is the how. How do we end the suffering? It's what? Simple. To relinquish, to let go, become detached to the cravings and desire that tie us to samsara. Very simple. Very simple solution. Right? Ideally, yeah, it's very simple. So that's the how. Okay, that's the how. He explained the what, the why, and the how. Okay? The fourth statement, truth in the way of leading to the cessation of suffering, is to follow the Noble Eightfold Path. So he showed you the how, the solution, the answer to suffering. Okay? Answer to that. Right? To use our Buddha wisdom to determine what is that's more specific, but in general that's what it means. Alright? So in those 4 noble truths, you can say it's you can summarize as saying, if you are noble, the noble person, you really what? Realize the true meaning of life. What life is all about. It's all this, and you have to get out. It's not because, oh, I have to get rich, I have to get powerful, I have to get famous, blah, blah, blah. You understand? Okay, so that's what it means. All right? All right? Okay, so that's the Four Noble Truths. Okay, so very clear, right? Okay, so that's the proper view and understanding, all right, of life, of reality. You have to realize the Four Noble Truths. Okay? The second one is called proper intention or thought. Right? To free ourselves from evil, hatred, immorality, etc. Okay, so once you have this proper understanding, proper view, once you have the spark, once you have that initial stages of awakening, what's next? You have to have thoughts, right? Proper thoughts. You have a view. View is like an idea, you can say, idea, concept, whatever. But then now, next comes the thoughts, right? Okay? Or intentions, you can say, right? Intentions, thoughts, right? Okay? And those three are very important. As a matter of fact, they lead to something later on at a higher level. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't know. I don't think I have time to talk about, but that's okay. So it's really thoughts of renunciation. That's to be detached, to give things up, to be unselfish too, to be more charitable. Also means that too. Okay, guys? All right? To be a little bit more equitable. Also equitable, okay? Hint, hint, okay? All right? Okay? And also, okay, on worldly matters, but then at the same time you want to pursue something spiritual. Okay, so that's good. Remember the two vows that we made after Dharma class? What's the first vow? Oh, it's very similar to this. Got it? Got it? Get it? Okay? It's very similar to this. All right? Okay. The second two is kind, loving thoughts as opposed to ill will. That means you have really mercy, okay, mercifulness, okay? Then the third one is harmless or non-violent, benevolent thoughts as opposed to cruelty. It's really compassion, okay? So, okay, all right? Okay, that's it, all right? So, now, if you have those thoughts or intentions in your mind, right, the next step is what? You have to express it. You have to speak it, right? So that's the proper speech, okay? In 4 areas, right? We know what they are, right? I want to jump the gun right now. The 4 is lying or falsehood, abusive or harsh words, slander or divisive speech, or an idle speech or gossip or flattery or whatever. Okay? So that's 4 areas. Right? Those 4. Okay? Then after the speech comes what? Actions or conducts. Now, in 3 areas. There's more, but these are the 3 basic ones. It's the killing. We shouldn't kill. We shouldn't steal. And we shouldn't be unchaste, or have sexual misconduct. That's another term. Okay. Now let me step back. Let me stop right here. We're already at the 4th point, right, midway. If you add up the 3 from the conduct, the 4 from the words, and the 3 from the number 2, the thoughts, intent. There are 10 items. You know that? You know what those 10 items are? It's what we call the 10 goodwill measures. Okay, because it tells you not to do this. And the opposite, it's to counter what? The 10 taboos. What are the 10 taboos? The 3 poisons of the mind, remember? The 4 evils of the mouth, to lie, to use abusive language, to slander, and gossip or flattery. And then the 3 evils of the body, to kill, to steal, and have lust or sexual misconduct. Those are the 3. So the 10 is right there. And number 2, 3, and 4. So those are the 10. And if you practice that, I think a couple weeks ago in Ty's lecture, or several weeks ago, right? If you don't want to go to the underworld, these are the 10 basic ones that you have to perfect. Right? If you don't want to go to the underworld in the next life, okay? All right? All right, that's the 10. It's called the 10 goodwill measures. Okay? I mean, it's not explicitly shown this way, but it was later on after this. Okay? Okay. Don't forget his intent. Okay, Buddha's intent at first. Okay. So now let's go to number 5. After proper speech, proper actions. These are more general. Then he goes more specific. Number 5 is okay. Now that you have, you know what the correct thoughts and intentions are. speeches are, words are, and actions are, then these are the 5 specific areas that we should not be involved in. Okay? 5 types of trade. 1, weapons and instruments for killing. All right. So, you work in a gun factory, you work in a munitions factory. I don't know. That's not good. That's not good karma. Okay? That doesn't do good. All right? Okay? Because you are producing the means where it can. Even though you say, "Oh, I didn't pull the trigger." That is true. That is true. I didn't explode the bomb. That's true. But you provided the means whereby someone could do that, right, and kill people, right? I mean, what's the purpose of weapons? To kill. Hello. People say, "Oh, for self-protection." No, that's the difference between that and that is what? One is what? A rationale. One is a reasoning. You use that as an excuse, as a rationale, right? The actual weapon is to kill, period. It's designed to kill, period. It's not a car. People say, "Oh, but cars kill." But cars are not designed to kill. Hello? Cars are designed to take people from point A to point B. It's not designed. Yeah, you can misuse it. You can abuse it. You can just fly a plane to the World Trade Center. Yeah, you can abuse it. But a plane is not designed to kill. Right? Get it? Whereas a gun, what's a gun designed to do? To kill. People say, "Oh, it's designed for protection." False. That's a wrong statement. That's a categorically wrong statement. Okay? Understand the difference? All right? Okay? Very important. All right? So that's why. Number 2, animals for slaughter. Really, the translation is called meat. 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 Carne. Meat. It just means that you don't kill animals for food. I mean, that's very basic. Or you don't get involved. I don't raise sheep and cattle to sell them to another person who takes them to the slaughterhouse. Okay, I mean, that's no problem. Okay, but it also means, okay, okay, and then slavery, that means, slavery, okay, whatever. I don't need to explain. Intoxicant drinks or, alcohol or drugs, okay, addictive drugs, okay. It doesn't say, okay, and then poison, okay, poisons. That's pretty interesting. I didn't know people deal in poisons then. I mean, but anyway, all right, okay. Now let's stop right now. Nowhere in point you can say, "Hey, Buddha didn't talk about vegetarian." Hey, he didn't say, "Hey, yeah, you can't be a vegetarian. You have to be a vegetarian." He didn't say that right here, right? It's true. I mean, he didn't explicitly say that, but it really implied in number 2 of the 5th chapter. Right? And also, he was addressing those 5 ascetics who were definitely not just vegetarian. They're hardcore vegans. Okay, not even vegan. They're like hardcore. Okay. They don't they don't eat anything barely. Okay, so anyway, all right, so that's why. Also, okay, I don't want to. There's too many stories. There are a lot of good stories about this, but I don't want to. I don't have time. My whole main point is I want to get through all this. Okay, now let's go to number 6. After the specific livelihoods that we should not be in, he said we should also have certain endeavors or diligent efforts. Okay, in the following 4 things. And basically, this is more general now, encompasses everything. The first one, to get rid of all the evil or we call unwholesome qualities that exist. Be it your personal bad habits or that you say wrongs that you see, okay? That you witness, okay? Or that you see in society, community, etc. 2, so that's 1, okay? That's 1 part. That's 1/4. The next is prevent anything that's evil or unwholesome from coming into being. So it's the prevention aspect. One is to get rid of the existing, the other one is to prevent any future one. Okay? So that covers pretty much everything, right? Then number 3, but that's only the evil one, the negative. Now it's the positive, is to develop or maintain the good or wholesome qualities that's already around. So promote that's good, right? Right? You see good things going on, you do it. You have good habits, you maintain it, right? Okay, so that type of stuff. Then the last one is to promote the good or wholesome qualities that have not arisen. You want to nurture it so that you want to see it come out. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so that covers everything. That's all 4 possibilities. Okay, so that's very broad. All right, as a matter of fact, never mind. Go. Okay, let's go to number 7. Proper mindfulness. That's a little bit higher level. Now it's more awareness, mindfulness, you can say awareness or conscientiousness, right? Of one's words, thoughts, deeds, etc. In 4 areas. With regard to our mind, you should realize that our mind, our conscious mind, is impermanent because it's changing constantly. It's not permanent as opposed to the Buddha mind. So we'll talk about that later. So he used that term called anicca. Okay, anicca. All right, means impermanent. Number 2, with regard to feelings, emotions. People say, "Oh, I'm happy, it's good, or I'm sad, whatever." But really, those emotions are the cause of our suffering. Okay, that's called dukkha. Okay, as a matter of fact, that's in one of the skandhas. Okay, the emotions. That's the second one. The second, feelings, emotions. That's the second skandha, by the way, aggregate. Okay, heap, aggregate. Okay. Now the third statement is to our body, physical body. It's impure. Okay. Just for that, I could explain later, but later on. Then the last one, mental qualities. It just means either our mental ideas or physical things. None of them are independent or have self-identity or essence. In other words, they are dependent with no self-identity or self-nature. In other words, they come and go. They have a beginning and an end. Understand? So it's called anatta or non-self. Okay? As a matter of fact, if you look at the first, second, and fourth, those are what we call the 3 Dharma seals, which Buddha explained in the second discourse a few days later. But he already introduced that concept. As a matter of fact, he even said, and this is a propositional statement, which is that all forms, all matters, all feelings, all thoughts, all consciousness, everything in the universe has these 3 qualities. You know that? You know that? Anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So you say, oh, how can a rock have suffering? Remember what the definition of suffering was? It's not just suffering. It just means unsatisfactoriness, incompleteness. You get it? A rock is not perfect, right? It's not perfect because it can be crushed, right? It's not perfect. Even the sun is not perfect, right? Even the universe is not perfect. Eventually it's going to, collapse or whatever, right? There's a beginning and end, okay? That's why, all right? Get it? So it's called the Dharma seals, the 3 Dharma seals, okay? All right, the third statement, I'll go to a higher level. There's a higher level, okay, that I'll talk about later. Then the last one, number 8. I don't have time, huh? Proper concentration, samadhi. It's really the higher. It's to develop a calm and concentrated mind based on the 4 dhyanas. Meditative state. I don't want to go into there right now because it's... and to help prepare for the ultimate attainment of wisdom and life through non-attached, unperturbed, and non-dualistic concentration. That's better. That's really the ultimate goal of what everybody should be striving for, not for the 4 dhyanas. The 4 dhyanas, yes, you can, I don't say enlightenment, you can reach a state close to enlightenment, but you cannot escape samsara. Get it? You cannot escape samsara. Because there are those 4 celestial realms in the world, it's called the realm of the formless. Formless? Yeah, formless. It's the highest realm. Those celestial realms. Yeah, it's the highest of the celestial, the 4 dhyana heavens, they call it. That's still samsara. You know that? You can escape it. Yeah, it's still samsara because they still have to reincarnate. They can escape destruction. Yes, after the kalpas, but that's another story. We don't want to explain. That's too much technical detail for you guys. All right, so for now, just take it as it is. Okay? So those are the 8. Now, what I've just explained is what we call the basic teaching, basic doctrine, basic understanding. So, it's really what we call, they call it the therapeutic school, right? Now, I don't want to say it's all of that, but just as an analogy, it's considered what we call, I say it's a basic level, it's considered what we call the small vehicle, 小乘法, okay? The small vehicle, or another term, they call it cart. It's called the goat cart. Goat, goat. You know what a goat is, right? Goat cart, okay? Goat cart, not go-kart, but goat cart, okay? Get it? So it's called a goat cart, okay? Now go to the spreadsheet. That's where we're going to explain. Now the fun part begins. But I don't have time. So unfortunately, you guys are going to have to figure it out later on your own, right? But anyway, yeah, that's fun too. That's fun part too. But anyway, Yeah, good growth spreadsheet. Just focus on the first 3 columns, 4 columns, 3, 4, really 4 is better, but 4 or 5. But okay, all right. Now I want to explain. On the top, I don't know if you guys can see it now. You guys can't see it. The level, it's considered the intermediate level now. Did you know that there are different levels? You know that? And never mind. Okay, 3 different levels. What the heck is that?
There's no level.
It disappeared. It's now empty. It's called emptiness. It's the emptiness.
highest level.
Yeah,
We have reached the highest level.
there are really 4 levels, but I don't want to. But the last 2 is very more advanced. But I want to go to the intermediate. Okay, it's part of the. We call it intermediate or middle vehicle or deer cart. You know deer. You know what a deer is? Bambi, deer. Okay, deer cart. Get it? Okay, it's a little bit bigger than a goat, right? So deer cart. Now the first path. Now understand. Now the 8 paths are no longer practiced sequentially. They're pretty much practiced concurrently. You get it? Or simultaneously at this level. Okay? Get it? Because you already done that on the basic level, right? Right? You pretty much went from 1 to 8. The whole point of number 8, I don't want to go down. Okay, never mind. Number 8. Too bad you guys don't have a printout, because a printout maybe you can follow it a little bit easier. But anyway.
We follow the screen.
Number 8 is to develop wisdom. Okay? And enhance your awareness. Remember that awakening that I talked about from the first step, from the first path, right? So it's mutually enhancing now. Okay, get it? So that's why it's concurrent. It's no longer sequential. You get it? So from the intermediate level to the supreme level, really the Eightfold paths are all going to be practiced concurrently, because every one of them will mutually enhance each other. That's the marvelous thing about it. That's why it's so noble too. Okay, but anyway. All right, so the first one, and this gets very detailed. You guys probably don't know what they are. It's to dispel the 4 inverted views. You guys know what the 4 inverted views are? Hello? Anybody knows? You guys know? No. Too much detail. I don't have time. Well, okay, I'll throw it because there's too many stuff. Okay, 4 inverted views. 1, remember the mindfulness? Remember number 7? Regard to mind is impermanent. The first inverted view is to regard what is impermanent to be permanent. Oh, love. Oh, all these emotions. Oh, consciousness. Oh, that's permanent. Wrong. That's an inverted view. Okay? 2, to regard feelings, emotions as joy. To take emotions as joy and not suffering. That's a wrong view too. That's called not understanding dukkha. Okay? So that's second inverted view. Get it? Third inverted view. What's the third inverted view? I know, third inverted view. Third inverted view. The body is impure. We think the body is pure, holy. Wrong view. Don't. Okay? Because the body is impermanent. Right? Fourth view. All objects, right, have an identity. All objects. Oh yeah, the sun, the moon, the earth, me. There's a you, there's an us, there's a they. Wrong. Okay? That's because there's no self. Physical, remember, all forms have no identity. Okay? So if you assume they do, that's an inverted view. You get it? So that's wrong. That's 4. We have to dispel. We have to get rid of that. Discard it. So it flows from number 7. You get it? So now that's a proper view. You got that? Get it? Okay. But there's more. There's more. That's why this is called intermediate. This is not the beginners now. Okay? You're not in kindergarten anymore. This is called eliminating the 62 fallacious and 88 deluded views, guys. It's the 62见 and 88事. Okay? For those guys who know Chinese. And the 81 cognitive delusions and 100 errors. My God, there are that many errors? I didn't know that. I didn't know I had that many errors. Yes, there are. So it's called the 81品 and 百非 100. 非 means negative or wrong. Okay? Errors. You gotta get rid of all of that. That's a lot. I don't have time to go into detail and how they derive it. It's really cool. But too much information for us at this stage. Okay? Then the next one, the proper. Now, I'm pointing from 1 to 8. I really don't have to now, but as you know, I have to start someplace. I can't do all 8 at once, right? Okay, so you gotta bear with me, okay? Understand that. So number 2, the proper intention now, it's to what? Eliminate all wrong views. Remember the number 1 from all the views? That's a lot of views, okay, by the way. A lot of errors and delusions. Thoughts and desires leading to contentment and then happiness. Alright, get it? Okay, contentment and happiness. If you can get rid of all of that, you'll be content, and then you'll be happy. Okay? Okay? But I don't have time to get into detail. The number 2, loving and kind thoughts turn to mercifulness. Remember those kind thoughts from the beginning? Benevolent and harmless or nonviolent thoughts turn to compassion. Okay? Get it? If you practice. Then detachment and unselfishness leads to non-bias and equanimity. Okay? Get it? Alright? Get it? Okay? Now, this is all considered wisdom. Remember? It's wisdom? Okay, wisdom. Okay? But later on it becomes uprightness. But I don't want to go through. I got to go to the next 6. Okay, the middle category. I don't have time. The middle category under the ethical conduct is the observance and practice of the 3,000 folks called awe-inspiring or dignified impressive conducts or deportments, and the 84,000 fine or minor conducts based on precepts of the 4 postures of walking, standing, sitting, reclining, and the 3 bodies of pure precepts, which is do no evil, do all good, and be of benefit to sentient beings. Do you know that all precepts flow from those 3, they call it the 3 bodies of pure precept? Okay? Alright? We're going to pick up where I left off, okay? So just understand, I'm going from 1 to 8, but it doesn't have to be that way at this level now, okay? At this level, the intermediate level, and really and above, okay? It's you can start pretty much anywhere, okay? But I have to go with a flow, right? So it's easier to do it this way. But so just understand that, all right? So okay, so we finished the wisdom part, right? Because that's what the wisdom part. Now we finished the ethical conduct part, right? Those 3,000 awe-inspiring or dignified impressive conduct. Do you know what they are? Name them. 3,000. Impossible. It's very difficult. Very difficult. You can do it, but it's. I mean, they have them in the sutras, by the way. Not in this sutra, not in the first sutra, but in the other sutra. It's under the Vinaya. Vinaya. You know, have you guys heard the Tripitaka? Have you guys heard Tripitaka? It's the 小乘法 the 三大堆 it's called the Tripitaka 三藏经三种的经 okay, so those are in the Vinaya, which is the precept. Then there is the sutra, and then there is the what's the other one? The third category is the commentary. Sorry, the Abhidhamma. Okay, so it's the Vinaya, Sutra, and Abhidhamma. Okay, but that's extra knowledge. You guys don't have to know that, but it's all in there. You guys can look at it. Okay, and then the 4 postures. You guys know what the 4 postures are? Anybody know? We get to do it every day. You probably don't even realize it.
Walking, standing, sitting, reclining.
Don't we? You can't escape from those 4. You're either lying down, reclining, or you're either sitting, or either standing, or either moving, walking, moving, running, skipping, hopping, whatever. You're moving. 4. You know that? There are 4. As a matter of fact, from those 4, they can get precepts. You know how many precepts? 84,000. But anyway, I don't want to talk, but just extra knowledge. As a matter of fact, if you read the Platform Sutra, he doesn't explain it, but Lecture Liu will explain it in the December class. I think one of his December in the it's either like the 8th in the 8th or whatever lecture. Okay, no 8th or 12th or whatever, one of those. Okay, doesn't matter. All right. So anyway, all right, and then okay. So but just know that. Okay, that. So at this intermediate level, we have to observe 3,000 and 84,000. That's a lot. Man, that's a lot of precepts. A lot of because they rule our behavior. Okay, they govern our behavior. So anyway, so that's very difficult. That's what we call this the deer cart. The deer cart. Okay, it's called the what? 渐修, or what we call 渐修, meaning what? Slow cultivation. Gradual method. Okay, so that's right, you have to learn. 84,000, that's a lot. And the 62 fallacious views, 88 deluded views, 81 cognitive definitions, 100 errors, I mean, that's too much. That's a lot. Okay, that's called the gradual school. Okay, that's why it's called the middle, you call it intermediate, middle vehicle, or deer cart. Okay, deer cart, right? Now let's go to the concentration piece. The 6, 7, 8. Now that we know what the precepts are, you have to master them. Master all 84,000 dharmas. Okay, learn or teachings to eliminate or prevent what? Remember those 4 proper efforts that we talked about in the first level, the basic level? You have to master all 84,000 dharmas in order to eliminate, prevent evil, or to develop and promote good. You know that? That's a lot. So that's why it's still called the gradual school. Get it? Okay? Next. Okay. As for mindfulness, mindfulness is that we have to. Now remember, all these no longer are practiced sequentially, right? These 8 paths, they are practiced concurrently. So not only you have the proper view, which is really the beginnings. Remember, at the first level, it's awakening, and then at the intermediate, it becomes wisdom. There's some starting points of wisdom developing. You understand? Okay? And then number 8 is concentration. Remember, we were meditating, right? The first level is meditate, the 4 dhyanas and all that stuff, right? Samadhi, all that stuff. You're going to develop what? Stillness or calm of the mind. So it's a bookend. These are bookends. Get it? You know what bookends are? You know, one end and the other end. Okay? Bookends. You know what the bookends are, right? Bookend on a shelf. You know what a bookend on a shelf is?
It's an instrument to hold the book standing up. That's called a bookend.
See, so that's 1 and 8. Get it? 1 and 8. So the first one, we call a view in the first level at the basic level, beginning level. Now it's called wisdom. Wisdom is coming up. That's why it's categorized under wisdom. Get it? Okay, so it's wisdom. Then number 8, you're developing concentration, right? Stillness, calmness of mind, right? Meditation, you can say meditation. Okay, that's what. So these are the 2 bookends. You see what I'm saying? But think about it. Actually, the meditation purpose is to what? Reach your Buddha nature. To see your Buddha nature. To see enlightenment. Okay, right now we don't know what Buddha nature is yet. Right now they don't know yet. It's called enlightenment. So you have to be calm, quiet. Okay, so that's your essence. That's what you call your ben. Ben means your essence, your root or essence. Okay. Now, what is its function? It's a function, even though it's empty. Yes, it's empty. It's formless. I'm saying it's formless. Empty is kind of too one-sided. But anyway, it's formless, but it has a function. Do you know that? There's a function. What's its function? What's the function of our Buddha nature? Wisdom. Wisdom. Anybody have wisdom? It's wisdom. So that's the first one. You get it? So those are the 2 bookends. That's how it works. Okay. I'm doing this as the Buddha nature. You're not going to find this type of material on the internet, by the way. FYI. Okay? This is all done through the Buddha nature method. It's called Buddha nature method. 心理心法的方式. Okay? This is the Buddha nature method. Okay? So anyway. So now we are developing our wisdom and developing our, you can say, awareness. You can say awareness, the concentration, awareness, deep awareness. Okay? So these are the 2 bookends. But remember, this is practice concurrent. You have to balance them. You know that? You can have all wisdom and no awareness. Or you cannot have all awareness and no wisdom. Get it? Make sense? Make sense now? Right? You get it? Because look at the bookend. Doesn't help. If you only have one side, the other books will collapse on the other side. You get it? So that's why. You get the analogy? Okay, that's why you need both. Get it? Like a railroad. Railroad has 2 tracks. Well, unless you're a monorail. Okay? Right? But you need, okay? So these are bookends. You need that. And how do you maintain that balance? Number 7. Get it? Mindfulness. Okay? Now we are minding, we are understanding. Oh yeah, I have wisdom. I also have this awareness, but I have to balance it. You get it? So it's called 正念. Okay, the higher level. This is the higher level, not the basic level. Remember those four statements we talk about, right? The Dharma seals and the impure body. No longer that. We're already beyond it. You're beyond it. Okay.
What is 正念? What is 正念? I think that's a very important concept we need to all have.
Yeah. I'm talking about intermediate level. This is intermediate. Okay. There's a higher level. There's a higher level. Okay, 2 high levels, but there's really the absolute awareness or the diamond samadhi, which is called 金刚三昧. 金刚三昧. You guys understand what that is? 三昧 or 灭受想定. You know what that is? That's the highest. That's the highest. That's your Buddha nature. That's your essence.
But the reason I asked the question because by the time we get to the end, it's going to forget that. Positive thought. Usually we all think about positive thought is important, right?
Yeah, but it's not.
For the Buddhas, the highest level is no thought. No positive, no negative, no right, no wrong. It's into the level which is no thought. Okay? Which is in our Buddha nature state. No thought. So for human beings, we think a positive, good, that's what we think, or bad. But from Buddha point of view, there's no good and bad. They already get to the level which is inside their Buddha nature. There's no thought. Yeah, that's the level one again.
So the Buddha nature action would be
no thought.
No thought.
Yeah, no thought means it's not doing. That means doing nothing. But it's,
Yeah. I'm going to talk about that. That's on the page 3 of your spreadsheet. But I don't want to get there. That's the higher level. But I'm not doing the intermediate. I'm doing the deer part. Okay. So because I have to explain because there are levels. You have to understand that. Okay. But another learning or level that you would attain is you realize why is the body impure. You understand why? Anybody know why? 三身如来. You know what 三身如来 is? The Trikaya. Anybody heard of the Trikaya? Trikaya. Trikaya. It's called the 三身如来. Okay, Trikaya. It's right there, right? The Dharma Kaya or the Dharma body. That's the 法身, 如来法身, okay? And the Sambhoga Kaya or perfect reward body or 应该说它是圆满报身, okay? Alright? Or the Nirmana Kaya, which is the transformation body, or the 化身, the 化学的化身, transformation body. Now, the Trikaya is to remind that, the reason why we say the body is impure is to remind you that the body is not real, but in fact there is something real behind that allows the body to exist, and that's the Trikaya. You understand? And what we understand, what we see as the impure body, right, the physical body, is really a manifestation of the Nirmankaya or transformation, 化身, the transformation body. Get it? But as long as we have that transformation body, we also have the Sambhoga Kaya or the 报身. Why? Because we have karma. That's the 报身. Understand? And higher, behind all that, the fact that we can hear, we have consciousness, that we can sense, proves that you have a Dharma body. Get it? Okay? So that's called a Trikaya. Okay? 三身如来. Or they call it 三身. 三身 is good enough. 3 bodies. 3 bodies in one. Okay? 3 bodies in one. Alright? Okay. So then the last step, the last one, is to what? Your wisdom is developing. Your mindfulness is elevated. Your vigor, endeavors, right? The master all 84,000 is increasing or improving, and you're increasing your faith now. Faith is increasing now. Faith, an aspiration to attain Buddha. You understand? So this is the intermediate level. Okay, we call it. Now, let me summarize. I don't have time. In the Platform Sutra, you go to the next column. It's called the San Gui Yi, or we call it triple jewel, triple gem, or sometimes they call it the 3 refuge. Okay? All right? It's that next column. Okay? So now, sixth patriarch, he changed it. So now, remember at the beginning level, we used to call the first two wisdom, remember, right? First two, we call them wisdom, right? The wisdom category. Now he called it the 归一正. You understand? 归一正. 归 means to go back, or to go, right? To go back. 归, to go back, to return, right? 依靠的依，人旁的依 ，OK？ 依靠的依，正面的正，正式的正，正向、正常的正 ，OK？ So I translate as uprightness. I mean, there's no other term. I mean, you say propriety. Propriety is too narrow. It's broader. Okay? It gets broader now. Okay? So what sixth patriarch did was say, oh, and the eightfold paths, the first two categories is, yeah, you call it wisdom, but that's only at the beginning level. Okay, introductive. But now, at a higher level, it's all called uprightness, and it's called dharma. Dharma. Yeah. Okay. That's sixth patriarch. You guys can read it. Now the second category, remember 3, 4, and 5, which is our conduct, ethical conduct. He now transferred as 净, right? 净, 清净的净. Okay, it means purity. I mean, it means stillness too, but it means purity. Okay, purity is the what? Sangha. You know what Sangha means? Sangha. Okay, I'll define later. Yeah, I'll define later. Okay? And then the last three, right, which is categorized as concentration, right? It's now what? He called it awareness. Get it? Awareness. 觉. The awareness. 归觉. 归一觉. 觉. 自觉的觉. Okay? 觉. Awareness. And he called that the Buddha. Because remember, that's the Qi, I call it the essence, the body is the Buddha. You get it? And then what is its function? The function is the uprightness, the Dharma, the teaching. You get it? Okay? Now, that's what sixth patriarch call it. Now, are you guys familiar? I see you guys are not familiar with Buddhism where, you guys heard of the term, right? The three gems, which is the Buddha, the Sangha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We tend to look at it as external. Yeah, oh, there's a Buddha. Oh, there's a Buddha. And they're teaching. Yeah, they're teachings. And then there is the community. The Sangha means community. What the sixth patriarch said at a higher level said, it's not just external, it's also internal. Get it? So that's why he used this. You understand? So there's an internal and external. So the external is basic level. It's common. Anybody can see that, right? Anybody can see, oh, there's a Buddha, there are teachings, and then there's a community of cultivators. That's external. But what sixth patriarch was trying to teach us, is that the Eightfold Paths also contains the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. You get it? And so he categorized it this way. So that's a little bit higher level. You're not going to find this in the books, okay, guys? All right? So it's good to pay attention. All right? So I mean, you can probably find it, but it's not easy. Okay? So that's basically what we call the deer cart level, okay? So now that you've mastered all this, the gradual method, you're ready to graduate and go to the next level, which is higher, which I call it the advanced level, or the large vehicle, 大乘法, okay? Or 大乘法, or 乘法,乘法, okay, whatever. And the ox cart. Now it's the ox cart. You graduate to the ox cart, guys, from the deer cart, okay? Now, everything kind of merges. Now, it's hard for me to talk about 1 through 8 at a sequence, okay? So you could start basically anywhere. So, I want to leave, see, that's why I do colors, you get it? So I have colors, because the colors are like the different, you can say, different baskets, different baskets of cultivating the Eightfold Paths now, okay? The Eight Noble Eightfold Paths. Yeah, really interesting, okay? Now, I'll talk about what we most likely hear, the Buddha nature. It's called, do not let go of all karmic affinities and do not give rise to a single thought, okay? Now, you can start from there. I mean, and that's very broad. That encompasses all 8 paths, you know that? That's why I can't put it anywhere. So, I don't have room to put it anywhere, okay? And then, if you go to the next column, if you practice that, it leads readily to 三星四象十事 ，get it？ 没有三星 ，no three minds, no four images, and no 10 lives. You get it? Or 10 lives, right? 14.
When you say no,
世
you
界
mean N-O or K?
No, sorry. No, none. Gone. Eliminated. Okay? Now, I'll talk about that later because I'm still doing the large. That's the supreme, the white bullock. 白牛车, okay? That's the highest level. But anyway.
Can you repeat that again? The three?
It's in the spreadsheet. It's the no 3 minds. That's why it's in red. It's color coded. So no 3 minds. 三星 3 minds. Past, present, and future. No 4 images. 我相, 人相, 众生相, 受相, 受主相. Okay, that's the ego, personality, being, and life. But I don't have time to explain it. But understand. That's a very high level. Okay, that means you have none of that anymore. None of that. We all have that, by the way. We all have these 3 hearts, 4 images, and 10 lives. You know that? We all have it. Anytime you think about the past, that's it. That's 10 lives, that's 4 images, and that's 3 minds. Okay? Okay? Get it? Anytime you think about the future, that's also 3. Get it? Okay? So by letting go of all karmic affinities and do not let a single thought rise will lead you to these 4. I mean, others too, but these are the 3, you can say basic or initial, okay? Initial qualities. Okay? But this is very advanced. That's why I color coded, okay? I ran out of colors. And I was going to do lines, and it got too complicated, so I gave that up. So it's hard to draw, because at this level now, we're at the advanced level, guys. Okay, you guys we're all at the PhD levels now. Okay, PhD and above. Okay, and or post PhD. Okay, yeah, post grad. Okay, that's why it's called the large vehicle 上乘法 or 大乘法, and the ox cart now. Okay, it's a big bull now. Okay, big bull. Okay, okay. All right. So now, so I just talked about that, but then there's basic. Let's go to the top, because you can start anyway, but basic. So this is the basic. We have to eradicate the 五蕴, right? You know what the 五蕴is? 5 skandhas. The form, the feeling or sensation, the perception, the volition or mental formation consciousness. You guys get it? You guys got that? 色受想行识, right? Right? The 5 skandhas. At the highest level, this is not high. This is pretty high already, okay? You have to get rid of all that. 五蕴, right? Understand? You have to get rid of that. And then, if you could get rid of all that, you can transcend the 五浊. You know what 五浊 is, right? It's some people call it corruptions. It's defilement. That's a better term. Defilement. Corruption is 2. What are the 5 defilements? Anybody want to know what the 五浊 is? 见, 烦恼, 众生, 命, 劫. You understand what that is? It's the view. I can't go into detail, but it's in there. The view, the passions, the human condition, the lifespan, and the world age. Okay, I don't go into detail, but that's more advanced. Okay, you can get rid of those 5. Okay, that's that. Now let's go down to the green. That was black because that's defilement. So sorry, Johnny. Okay, but I mean black is defilement. Okay, so okay, so I ran out of colors. Okay, what can I say? Okay. Let's go back to the green, which is the 六节. Anybody know what the 6 knots are? Whoa, this is more advanced. 6 knots. 六节. Anybody know what the 6 knots are? 动, 静, 根, 觉, 空, 面. Okay? Anybody know what they are? Yeah, you guys don't know. Okay, never mind. This is very advanced now. I'm sorry, this is very advanced. Okay.
The details will be covered in the later Buddha nature classes.
Yeah.
So we have to come every
The
Sunday.
first one is called motion, our movement, activity. Second one is called stillness, right? Duality, guys. A lot of dualities. Third one is gun or sense portals. Okay. It's part of the skandhas too, but that's okay. Okay. And the fourth one is 觉. In this case, even though it can be translated as awareness, we gotta be careful. In Chinese, see that's the problem with all languages. We use the same word but different meanings. In this case, it's delusion. Get it? It's delusion. Okay? Delusions. 觉. Okay? Because it's negative. Okay? And then the fifth one is emptiness. Okay? You know why we call it delusion? Because you still have
attachments of 分别, 有分别心, you still have differentiation. That's why it's called a delusion. Okay? Alright? You're aware, but you're aware that, oh, it's a he, it's a she, it's a positive, it's a negative. You get it? That's considered delusion. Even though, yeah, you say we're aware, but it's still considered delusion. From a Buddha standpoint. We're talking about from the Buddha standpoint now. From the Buddha nature, from the principle, right? From the truth, from the absolute truth. It's still considered. And then the fifth is called emptiness, 空, right? But then this 空 is different from the ordinary 空. Okay? But I don't want to go into detail. Okay? Emptiness. And then the sixth one is annihilation. That 空 is, that emptiness is really being and cessation. But I don't want to talk. And annihilation is because we have, it's originally there is none, no being and no cessation. But because we have, so therefore there's annihilation. So we have to get rid of that. You get it? So it's a not. So it's considered a not, like a hindrance, like a barrier. So if we untie that knot, then you realize, oh, there is no being, no cessation, no birth, no death. Really, you know that? Okay, but that's the highest level. Okay, so that's very important. That's another important concept. This is an advanced concept now. Okay, most of us probably never heard of this. Okay, all right. Next, I want to go into the three refuge. We talked about that. Three restoring to one. We talk about the sansen, right? The three, the dharma body, the fa sen, bao sen, hua sen, right? As three distinct, but actually it's all one. Get it? It's just three because that's how we can understand it, and that's why, and because we're in this phenomenal world, we separate it at three. But in the trans-phenomenal realm, there's no three. You get it? It's one. So the three is called san sen gui yi, right? Return to one. Get it? That's a concept. That's a very important concept. Platform Sutra talks about it. Buddha talked about it. Okay? A lot of sutras. It's called the three refugees or three restoring to one. Get it? Okay? It's in chapter 6, by the way, of the Platform Sutra. If you guys want to go in more detail. Okay? But anyway. Next, let's go to the blue. Blue. Okay? It's the... anybody know what the 8 consciousness are? Okay, we're done. Okay? We have to call the 5, 8, 6, 7. 5, 8, 6, 7. Anybody know what they are? Yeah, the transformation. Yeah. So I put a number, 1, right? Did I put a 1? 1 on the top? Right? I put, there's no room. I mean, it's, okay. It's called to transform, 转第六识, right? To transform the 6th consciousness. What's the 6th consciousness? Mind. It's called the mind consciousness. Get it? Okay? The 5 sense portals plus number 6 is 6. Okay? This is what we use every day in life. 6. And we consider that to be real. Right? We say, our mind is real. Our mind exists. Wrong view. Deluded view. Wrong. So what you have to do is, at this advanced level, you have to transform that 6th consciousness, or the mind, into called divine observing wisdom, which is 妙观察知. You know what? 妙观察知, 智慧的知, right? 妙观察, divine observing wisdom. Okay? You have to transform it, meaning that you get rid of, you understand that your mind is not true. It's impermanent. Remember from the basic class, basic level, mind is impermanent. Hello? This is the higher level of that, consequence of that. Get it? Okay? So, and then when you could do that, this takes effort, by the way. Okay? This is not snap of your finger. Okay? This takes effort, but that's why it's called advanced. Okay? It's not basic. Okay? Which leads to what? The wisdom of rudimentary awakening, or 始, 开始的始, 觉知. 自觉的觉, 智慧的知. Okay? When you have the divine observing wisdom, when you're able to transform your mind consciousness into this divine observing wisdom, it can lead to the wisdom of rudimentary awakening. Remember I talked about awakening from the beginning? In the first one, the proper view? That awakening was a flash. Remember, like a flash of lightning? Well, this rudimentary awakening is like a flash, but it's not. It's bigger than a flash. It's like a gigantic flashlight. It's like the moonlight. Get it? It's still a beginning because it's not totally bright yet. And it's not absolute bright all the time. But it's a zillion times brighter than a flash of lightning on the basic level. Get it? So this is very advanced, okay? Very, very advanced. Now, that's number one, first step. The second step, you got to go down to the bottom. I mean, I ran out of room. That's the problem. That's why I color coded it. It's called the transform. What's our seventh consciousness, guys? Anytime you guys have deep contemplation or you are in deep thought, get it? It's called seventh consciousness.
Mona.
Yeah, mona. But they don't. Yeah, it's called mona. It's called mona or subconsciousness. You can call it subconsciousness. It's deep in your thought. So you could be sleeping, but it's still there. Even though your consciousness is sleeping, it's unaware, but your subconscious. As a matter of fact, most psychiatrists would tell you that's where dreams come from. Get it? Dreams come from your seventh consciousness. Okay?
That's why people commit a crime.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But anyway, okay. So now, we also think the seventh consciousness is real. Oh yeah, we have a conscious, that's real, and we have a subconscious, that's real. Wrong. That's another diluted view. Okay? All right? Now you have to transform that subconsciousness or seventh consciousness into what we call the equal universal wisdom or the 平等性知, right? 平等性知, get it? 性, 自信的性, okay? 本性的性, okay? 平等, equal. That's what it's called. Equal universal wisdom, okay? Now, the reason why we have to start from the 6th and 7th is because those are the cause of everything. Think about it. It's either your consciousness or your subconsciousness that gives rise to all thoughts, right? Nothing else. Right? It comes from that, right? So that's why. That's the cause. That's the in, okay? So that's why. Okay? Now, after that, the third one is called the transforming the fifth consciousness. What's the fifth consciousness? It's the five consciousness. It's a sense. I mean, I say fifth, it should be five. Sorry, the five consciousness. Yeah, I had a typo. Oh, you guys didn't catch it. I caught it. Okay, it's the eye portal, the ear, the nose, the tongue, and the body. Okay,
Number five.
all right. So those are the five consciousnesses. We have to. We all think those are real. Wrong again. Okay. We have to transform that. Now, that's the result, because it all comes from your mind first. Your mind perceives, right, through your senses, okay? So now, if your mind is transformed, your consciousness, your mind and your consciousness and subconsciousness is transformed, then we can then, therefore, transform the five sense consciousness. Get it? Make sense? Which is what? We transform it into called the wisdom of perfecting double work of self-welfare and welfare. It's called 成果的成，所以的所，工作的作，知。Ever heard that? 智慧的智。Ever heard that term? 成所作知. Never heard of that, right? Very rare. This is very advanced level, guys. So you guys, this is all above most people's heads. Okay, so don't worry. But that's high level. This is high level. What do you want? Okay. But if you could do this, it's almost guaranteed you could be enlightened. Okay? So think about that. So is it worth it? It's your choice. Okay? Alright. So that's the third level. Then the fourth one. Go back down. Sorry. Transform our eighth consciousness. Or the alaya consciousness in Sanskrit, or better known as the storehouse. That's where everything, all your past infinite lives, deeds, words, thoughts are stored. That's what they call it, a storehouse. It's like a gigantic, what we call cloud storage. But it's invisible. It's formless. It's even better. It's invisible. It's formless cloud storage. Okay, all right. It's
That's
perfect.
the Akasha, right?
So, because it records a lie. Yeah. Now that's a result of what? From your consciousness, 6, and your 7th subconscious, and your 5th, or your 5 conscious senses, right? What you gather, you retrieve information, right? You see, you hear, you touch, you taste, you smell, etc. It all gets stored where? In this cloud, in this invisible cloud storage called the 8th consciousness. Now we have to transform that. Now, if you can do the first three steps that we talked about, then you can easily, I would say easy, yeah, a bit easier to transform that into what we call the 大圆镜智, which is translated as the great, perfect mirror wisdom. Get it? Okay, now, when you're at that level, wow, you're like a Buddha. You're like almost like a Buddha. You're at least a Bodhisattva. At least an Arhat. At least an Arhat. At that level, you're at least an Arhat. Okay? So that's very hard, guys. But that's it. Okay? Okay, so now we got all the colors except one more. We talk about samadhi. We have to also practice samadhi, even from the intermediate, from the beginning to the intermediate to the advanced. What's the advanced? It's called non-attached, unperturbed, non-dualistic concentration. Wow, that's deep, guys. That's deep. That's very, very deep. You can say deep meditation. That's the highest, or one of the highest. And as a matter of fact, you see a dashed line that goes through to the next level. It transforms into what we call 灭受想定 or 金刚三昧. Okay, the diamond samadhi. There are other terms for it. That's the highest level. That's found. That terminology is found. You guys can look it up. It's in the Suragama Sutra. Suragama Sutra, 楞严经. Anybody know what that is? That's very advanced too, but that's okay. Okay, that's why it's advanced. That's why it's called the Supreme White Bullock, guys. White Bullock card. Okay. So unfortunately you can't see side by side, but I color coded for a reason, because when I talked about the advanced, because you still have to do something. You still have to do something. You're not at that one moment. Okay, you're not instant. It's not instant. Okay, you still have to apply some effort. So that's why it's not yet supreme. It's advanced, but it's not supreme. So still just ox card. The highest level, all these color coded, I will leave to the next column, which is called the supreme or great or white bullock. It's all one vehicle now. It's all one. Sorry, one path. There's no 8 paths or 10 paths or whatever, or 4 paths. It's all one path. Guys, it's all one path now. Okay, remember? I talked about the no 3 minds, no 4 images, no 10 lives. There are many more, but this is initial. Okay, that's it. And then, remember? Okay, I talked about the diamond samadhi, right? That if you are able to achieve non-attached, unperturbed, non-dualistic concentration at the very highest level, this is what all the Buddhas, Mahakasyapa, Sariputra, all these Buddha's top 10 disciples try to attain. As a matter of fact, Mahakasyapa did, because it's mentioned in the Surangama Sutra. You guys know Mahakasyapa? 舍叶子, like 舍利子. No. 迦叶. Yeah, Mahakasyapa, 迦叶尊者. He attained diamond samadhi, by the way. So remember, Jill, you mentioned, wasn't one of the disciples someplace in some mountain someplace, and he's waiting for Maitreya to show up, then he'll incarnate. Not incarnate, he'll appear, he'll reappear. So he's not quote unquote dead, we call it dead. See, when you reach diamond samadhi, you literally are like an immortal. Literally. In every meaning of the word, you're immortal. You guys see the movie Immortals? Get it? Same ideas, okay? But it's better, more advanced. You don't even have to eat or even breathe. You know that? At that level, you don't even have to breathe. You don't have to drink water. Unimaginable.
It can be like
Okay. Yeah. Can you read that level? Well, Mahakasyapa did. But that's in the Surangama.
elevation level.
Yeah. So that's the highest. That's the highest level. That's the highest. The diamond samadhi or 金刚三昧. Okay? Alright? Or better known as, that's better known, but 妙受想定. Okay? 灭受想定. No dualism. 受想 means dualistic. And thought. There's no thought. Remember what Master Lin mentioned? No thought, no mind. That's that level. No thought, no mind. No thought, no mind. No nothing. And you can say no nothing. That's a
No, but at the end,
oxymoron.
Sudanese is still there.
Yeah. That's an oxymoron. There's the 4. That's called the 4 世纪. You guys know what 世纪? I don't want to go into that. That's too advanced. That's too advanced for all of us. But okay, so that's the pink or whatever, the pink. Okay, and then remember I talked about the transformation of the 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8 consciousness. Guess what it leads to? 大觉, great awareness, which is really at the level of absolute awareness. Absolute awareness is 究竟觉, you know, 究竟觉, 研究的究, 静是这个静进程的进 yeah, 进程的进 boundary, you can say boundary or whatever, okay? 觉 自觉的觉，正觉的觉。Okay, that's absolute awareness. You are a Buddha. You are at that state of Buddha. At that level, you are the state of Buddha. That's why remember I said those transformation of those consciousness will lead you to that. Okay, great awareness. Well, it's rudimentary awakening will observe your original awakening, which then will merge with the great awareness. And at that level, you are absolute awareness. You are Buddha. When we say absolute awareness, what is that? What's the definition of absolute awareness? What's the description? Everything in the phenomenal space-time dimension and beyond is encompassed by that awareness. Get it? Or they call it emptiness. They call it emptiness. I don't know what you call it. Emptiness. Anything that you could think or imagine, plus anything that you could not think or imagine is encompassing it. That's what that absolute awareness means. Get it? Okay? It means everything. Infinity, or whatever. Okay? Negative infinity to positive infinity. So I don't know. It's undefined. It's not describable. That's right. That's like the 4G. At this level, because we're talking about the highest level now. The 4G is very, you guys know what the 4G is, right? I don't know. It's called the 4 propositions or the 4-fold negations. Edison knew about it. I talked to him about it last week. But anyway, okay. So now at this level, at the supreme level of the Noble Eightfold Path, I'm almost out of time, right? There are 2 more things. Now that you have all these, right? No 3 hearts, no 3 minds, no 4 images, no 10 lives, diamond samadhi, great awareness, absolute awareness, etc. No mind, no thought, whatever. Emptiness, nirvana state, whatever you want to call it. Okay? It's really called the one essence. Just one. Everything is the one now. Goes back to one. That's why at the far right column, I have that one column. It's called the Buddha, mind, view, knowledge, and body. Get it? It's everything. It's all of that. It's the Buddha view, the Buddha mind, the Buddha knowledge, and Buddha body. But it's all one essence. You get it? And it encompasses all these qualities, we call it, in the supreme level or the white bullock cart level. You get it? Okay? I mean, now, one thing I gotta step back. These carts and these vehicles, these are just they're not exclusive to just this. Okay? So this is just an analogy. I use it as an analogy. That's why I say it's analogous. It's similar to or parallel to. Okay? Just so that you have a frame of reference. That's all. Okay, that's all. But okay, so now at this highest level, there's 2 more things that come about when you're at the Buddha level. What are they? Have you guys heard of the 四无量心? Anybody know what they are? The 4 immeasurable minds, or the 4 divine abodes or sublime abidings. Okay? What are they? It's in pink. Is that pink? I don't know. What is it? Yeah. It's called limitless happy joy, boundless mercy, infinite compassion, infinite equanimity. You're a Buddha. That's what a Buddha has. All Buddhas have that. Bodhisattvas too. But we use interchangeable. That's good enough. Okay? But we're talking about the supreme level. So Buddhas have that. So that's what they have, guys. Okay? That's why they are compassionate. That's why because it's infinite. It's limitless. It's boundless. No boundary. And it's also through space-time, by the way. Okay, but anyway, okay, it doesn't matter. But you can go more into detail, but we don't have time for that. But just know that. Okay, now, is it any wonder that as a Buddha, when you are cultivating at the highest level of the Noble Eightfold Path, guess what? You're going to end up with 4 vows. It's called the 4th great vow of Buddha. Okay? 四弘誓愿, right? 四弘誓愿. 四弘誓愿. Hong means great, grand, great, whatever. Great, yeah, great. Magnificent, great. Maha, it's Maha. It's called Maha in Sanskrit. Okay? And what are the 4 great vows, guys? It's at the very bottom. You know what they are? Save all innumerable sentient beings. Okay? Extinguish all the inexhaustible afflictions. Number 3, master all the immeasurable dharmas. 4, achieve the unsurpassed enlightenment or Buddhahood. Get it? Okay? You have that. Now, there's an internal and external component to this, but I don't have time to go into detail. Okay? That's okay. That's okay. There's an external component. But if you know this, just good enough. That's good enough. This is very advanced, guys. Okay? All right. So now, because I need some time to conclude. Okay, guys? So go back to the Word document, page 3. Sorry. Oh, man. I gotta go back and forth. Okay, in conclusion. Now that you have a little flavor, it's a lot to absorb. I agree, it's a lot to absorb. You have to realize that the Noble Eightfold Paths are essential. They're an indispensable part. As a matter of fact, they're an indispensable part of the 37 37 助道品. Anybody heard of that?
Yeah.
The 37 aids or branches or limbs of enlightenment qualities that comprise the core teachings of the Buddha. You know that every sutra cannot escape, does not have any component that's not found in the 37 branches. You know that? Wow, that's marvelous, huh? Wow, yeah. Wow, that's a summary, but it's very high, very deep, okay? So that's why it's essential, the Eightfold Path, because it will lead you. It's a component, it's essential. Second, it's fundamental. Why? Because you can start from the basic path, right? Remember what I call it? The basic level, the small vehicle, 小乘法, or the what? Goat cart. Goat cart. Because you can basically cultivate from that small vehicle, but it can lead to the more advanced level. Get it? To the supreme level. Okay? That's why it's fundamental. You can say it's the foundation. But I'm going to get to the integral part, which contains all the basic foundations for many of the core concepts that when practiced diligently over time will lead to the understanding and achievement of the most advanced concept. Get it? Get it? Okay, I explained that. Okay, that's okay. That's why it's so based on these qualities, folks, this middle way, the Noble Eightfold Path, is called the middle way. There's another story to that on the Dhammacakkara Pravantana Sutra that he talked about. It's called the middle way. It's truly worth label of being called the Noble Eightfold Path. Remember that it was discovered by Buddha. And it was used and practiced by all the previous Buddhas before. You know that? So it's no wonder it's so versatile, so fundamental, so essential. You get it? So that's why it's worthy to be called the Noble Eightfold Path. All right? Okay? So as cultivators on the journey of cultivation, we have now a little bit better insight, maybe, right? An understanding of what the Noble Eightfold Paths are and what its teachings are. But when we practice them properly and diligently, it can lead to profound wisdom, insight, and liberation. Or you can say nirvana or enlightenment. Okay? So let us all become awakened to embrace this middle path and be inspired to achieve enlightenment in this lifetime. Thank you very much for listening. I ask for Buddha's forgiveness and guidance of whatever I said that's not satisfactory.